Back to our top business story for this portion of the bulletin. India's economy growing 6.7% on year in the April to June quarter. Now, that is falling short of the central bank's forecast of 7.1%. It's also slower than the 7.8% growth in the preceding quarter. For more details on that, Ishan Garg joins us live from New Delhi. Ishan, falling short of forecast and slower than the previous quarter. What does that tell us, this GDP data?
Well, one of the first things it tells us is that there hasn't been a lot of government investment into projects, and that includes both the federal government and the state governments. And analysts say that's because India was going through a phase of mammoth elections, which possibly saw a reduction in capital outflows from the government department. And that's perhaps led to a smaller growth in the first quarter of the current financial year. When we look at the numbers, we're actually seeing some sort of mixed results, because there are some core industries, for example, fertilizers, natural gas, steel, electricity, which have grown rather handsomely. And these are the sort of core industries that drive India's economy. But there are other sectors that haven't done all that well. One of them is services industry, the IT services, the legal fields. They haven't done well in the first quarter. But at the same time, manufacturing has grown slightly. Another pain point, according to experts, is of course the agricultural sector, which employs roughly about 2/3 of the Indian economy. About 60% of India's population lives in villages, and the growth rate in the agricultural sector stands at about 2%, which many say is going to be a cause of concern. So it's a mixed bag of results. Many analysts had already expected it, but it's certainly lower than what the government was predicting for itself.
All right, and of course, the government, the central bank rather, its full-year target is 7.2%. Now, if we are to reach that target, what sort of momentum will we be looking at over the next few quarters?
Well, experts are pointing out that one of the key things the government needs to address is going to be boosting consumption, and that can be done through monetary policy, which the Reserve Bank of India is going to control, and that can also be through government initiatives that the Finance Ministry of the Indian government is going to control. Analysts say that it's about putting disposable income in the hands of poorer people, especially people who live in India's villages. Experts say that that's where actual consumption comes from, that's where the demand comes from, and that's going to be important if India is going to grow above a 7% growth of GDP for the remainder of the year, or for the entirety of the financial year 2024. Apart from that, there's also expectations that a slew of new measures that have been announced to boost infrastructure spending in the year going forward, that's going to possibly help boost the economy as well. And probably in the next 3 quarters, analysts say that these figures could see a minor bump.
Oh, thanks. Ishan Garg reporting live from New Delhi there, breaking down what the implications might be for these new growth figures out of India.